So thank you very much, Kimberly Cornfield, for being here in this Q&A about the book, about the launch we have period about innovation and collaboration in the digital era. So you are inside the book in the chapter of the cost of knowledge and cost of innovation. So the question for you is, what is your role at the University College of London?
So first of all, congratulations on the book. This is a really exciting piece of work, and I'm just getting started reading it. So just to sort of hit into your first question. So at UCL, I am head of European research and innovation. So I'm responsible for UCL's portfolio of research and innovation that have been funded by the European Union. Very specifically, it's the EU's framework programs for research and innovation. So those not familiar, these are programs that start and run for about a 7-year period. So we've just started Horizon Europe. This is the latest program. And we're currently working on applications, and I'm working on some on innovation today. And the program's going to have 95.5 billion euro available to support from just sort of early stage to closer to market research. So we are a team of 15 at UCL, solely dedicated essentially to Horizon funding and supporting our UCL academic colleagues and helping the university sustain its place as one of sort of the top receivers of this funding. Under Horizon 2020, we were the 4th most successful university in that area. So that's what my role is. So everything I'm sort of answering today is going to be from the perspective of Horizon and European funding, because we're a very large organization. So we've got a lot of innovation support and activities in the university that go beyond what I'm responsible for.
Yeah, and as well, that is super interesting because, well, in chapter 7, we are talking about money and the implications of innovation and how to forecast and how to budget for innovation. So how do you forecast your budget for innovation at the university? And what is the cost of innovation for you?
Right. So again, just looking at European funded research and innovation. So that's the only area I'm really involved in, and there'll be other activities or processes at the university for that. But if we're looking at developing, for example, a collaborative project where we're helping an academic, what we would do is we would look at I almost look at it as also opportunity cost. So I see research and innovation as really going hand in hand. So in this program, there's European Research Council. So that's really groundbreaking, investigator-led excellent science. You have also collaboration funding to support collaboration to address global challenges and industrial competitiveness. And then you have innovation funding, which still links in with research. So we look at it from the TRL levels. So I guess first we would look at, if an academic comes to us and they've got an idea, we look at the call, does this fit and what do they need to add? And a lot of times to link up for more innovation, we need to connect science and business, and having a look at what that could look like. I mean, just in terms of forecasting, we can plan the actual costs that we're going to incur for the work plan that we set out, and then that gets reimbursed. So that's quite straightforward. I think what is more complicated is what is the cost ahead of that. So particularly European funding is very competitive. So I think for Horizon 2020, it was about around 12-13% success rate. So we do look at sort of that cost up front of how competitive is this for that specific program. Should you potentially put your research and innovation ideas into another program, sort of to reduce that upfront resource cost and increase our chances of success. So that's how we would look at it. And then, you know, for us, it would be, for a university in this type of program, you would get 100% of your direct costs and you get a portion for overheads. You know, looking at what the opportunity is and how I would see it as looking at what the cost of that opportunity is, or the cost of missing that opportunity to sort of progress that research to the next phases.
It's super interesting because in Horizon Europe, you have really the cost is very split. So you have the hardware, even the travel, so the personnel, you have as well the material you need. So it's very, very, very clear.
Yeah, it is. And then how it gets reimbursed. So it's, and because they also do upfront funding, so pre-financing, and then you're paid based on period. For example, for some companies or SMEs, when working together with universities, it could be a really good option because you do get pre-financing to support the developments and for our organizations to come together. Right now, there's a new program called the European Innovation Council, which I'm really excited about. And I'm supporting now looking at this for some previously funded future and emerging technology projects and European Research Council proof of concept. And it's a really great opportunity to progress that. And there is sort of to progress it on the innovation track. And it's at that stage where it's still, and this is why I say it's a bit hand in hand, because there's a point where the research and innovation, it's sort of switching on that TRL level where it's getting, you've got maybe a working prototype and you're working on the market analysis and the commercialization plans. And that's sort of where you're starting to transition out of research.
Totally. And I think the EIC, so the European Innovation Council, they have the Pathfinder.
Yes.
So like you help like more almost ready research to apply with industry. And then they look already if you got receive funding.
Yes.
So you have priority if you got already funding to go to this kind of funnel they created to bring research to life at the end.
Yeah, it's great. It's really interesting because for example, we've hosted a number of ERC grantees at the university. So we've got a really strong track record in excellent research. And now to have this opportunity for these colleagues to have a pot of funding with through the European Union Framework Program to continue on that research. And so that this research and innovation, it reaches, not only does it progress the research field itself, but what kind of impact is that going to have on policy, on patients, on markets, and setting out spin-out companies. So that's really exciting. I think that's sort of the lens that I, can look at it, is looking at, what they're looking for. What do you have? How has it been successful? Of course, there's a significant sort of, I would say somewhat significant cost for collaborative grant preparation, sort of, you're working on it sort of 2 to 6 months ahead of the deadline. But what's the opportunity of missing that opportunity to carry that on? And I always think it's better to have the money and the problem. So to put something in, see if you get funded. And then once you've got the money, I think then it's a great opportunity to continue to explore.
Yeah, totally. And your interview in the book is in the page 174. In the chapter 7, and here you are talking about all these kind of activities of knowledge transfer and as well, but I think you mentioned already this, like which kind of funding opportunities are important for you and for what are you using this funding. I think you answered in a way like you have the Horizon Europe, the European Innovation Council, the European Research Council. So they are all these three, or you are using other like Next Generation EU or other type of more as well local funding, or how do you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got other teams and departments at UCL that are supporting right from early concept through supporting in the commercialization, IP spin-outs of results that are coming from grants in other areas. So national funding, our research council funding is Wellcome Trust, for example. So there's a lot of, we're involved in a number of different schemes, and just for us, we look at everything Horizon that would be could be applicable to some of our researchers, and ERC is a big one. So really looking at that, where we've got a strong, excellent science base, the global challenges, we've got a lot of initiatives in this space, and building that and continuing those relationships with our European collaborators. This is a great way to be able to continue and maintain those. And innovation is the EIC is the new one for sort of that, closer to market activity, but also previously the Future and Emerging Technologies was included under Excellent Science. It's now part of European Innovation Council. So that's why I've been quite encouraging our academics to look at this, what is labeled innovation funding.
Yeah,
but
that's another story, how the mindset change for an academic when you are talking about research or you are talking about innovation. How do you do this? Because this is, for them, in some cases, it's more about commercialization, and sometimes they are scared of commercialization of research. So how do you manage this point?
Yeah, I think it's really about sort of clarifying what the opportunities are, what they're working on and what the ambitions are, and how that, and really sort of bringing together, I think, that concept of research and innovation. It's like I said, it's hand in hand, and I've been sort of on that mission to sort of dispel any myths that this isn't going to be applicable to our university researchers. Actually, there's a lot of opportunity, and what used to be considered excellent in the excellent science pillar is now the EIC Pathfinder. Yeah. So I think it's really just about kind of that constant, communication and promoting of what it means. And I think that in different programs or different places, innovation, it can mean different things. So, linking it back with, of course, there's that track to commercialization, but you have to kind of, go in parallel in the developments of, how the research is developing, of how it might get prepared to a market.
Mm-hmm. So last question, what is the definition of innovation you are using with academics?
So that's a really good question. And you know what, before this interview, I was thinking, I started looking, I was like, I wonder how Jara is going to define innovation. I mean, that's why I think, when I look at it, that's why I think it links so much with research, because research is exploring ideas and theories, and innovation is about, it's new ideas and concepts and progressing. So I would generally say in this context, the innovation element is, if I look at it from technology readiness levels, you are sort of at the higher end of, I think you've got TRL, 1 to 9. And so innovation are the activities when the research, you start to maybe close off the research and development aspects. And you've got, maybe say, if it's a product, you might have a tool or a solution that's ready to, progress now into business, and that's something being sold. So that's commercialization element. So again, innovation, I think it's quite fluid. It's linked to both.
I think for me, to make it super, super mega simple, I define always innovation like you bring value with creativity. So the creativity could come from research, invention, as well ideas, but you have to bring value. So someone has to use it.
Yes.
And this is the part of innovation. In cases, I don't know which case could be free, but in others, it's like you create a tool or innovative solution, some kind of new invention. And when the people are using it, is this when it transforms automatically in innovation. I think from this maybe can help this sense of bringing value, like impact someone in a positive way.
Yeah, and I think, as you were saying, I said that's sort of the key element in these, in European Union funding now, is Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe. It's now incorporated with this much more focus on innovation and impact. And also in the UK for our own funding, there's a real strong emphasis now on impact. So indeed, I think that is the, whatever impact that is that impacting on policy, so that you've been able to take the results of your project, you've been able to share them with policymakers, and connect with, the different networks and stakeholders. Do you create a spin out so that you can eventually get a product to market that gets to patients, and that type of impact? Or even, if it's earlier stage, or mid-stage research and innovation, is that, that impact of progressing the research field.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, like you are going to the next step and you can continue researching the part you want to research.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
a value for the whole community of research.
Yeah, and that's where the publications are so important, and I think this drive as well for open access, so that it's everybody can have access to what these results are, and where is the state of the art really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much, Kimberly. It's a pleasure always to talk to you, and I think this is the book and Kimberly interview here in chapter 7, and it's talking more about, I mean, like you're talking about ethics as well in the part when we bring all together how to calculate the ratio per hour of academics. I mean, all your knowledge of one of the best universities in UK is here. So I am super grateful for this. And like you are sharing this knowledge with others and they can learn from you.
It's great, and I mean, I learned from you. I'm looking forward to reading the book and from others, and I really believe not only are the global challenges that the research and innovation often are tackling they cannot be solved by one organization or one individual, but I really believe in collaboration in the field, just research management, project management, how we come together and can learn from each other and share. So I'm looking forward to reading the other conversations in the book. Yes. And all of your research work that's gone into this.
Yeah, thank you, Kimberly. That was one of the interviews you can find in this book, Innovation and Collaboration in the Digital Era. We are doing one interview every week, so you can check out our YouTube channel for the playlist of book in the Collabwith channel, and you can find the book on Amazon.com, Bol.com, and as well on our website shop.collabwith.co. So see you next week.